In this segment, we'll go over our startup procedure for the Titan 575. We're going to do an initial inspection. We'll cover machine operation, and then we'll actually show you how to start the machine up. So we'll begin by removing the left side cover. And on the left side of the machine, about 3/4 of the way back near the top under the heat exchanger, you'll see a yellow ring, which is the engine oil dipstick. So you remove the dipstick, wipe it off, reinsert it, and then check to make sure the oil level is between the two punched holes on the stick. We're then going to look at the sight glass at the rear of the high pressure pump and make sure that the oil level is halfway in the middle of the sight glass. We're going to do a quick visual inspection to make sure we don't see any loose clamps, any fasteners that have come loose or fallen off, and we'll look over the belts, the drive belts, to make sure that we don't see any signs of fraying or cracking. For a more in-depth view of machine inspection, please refer to that video tape in the series. We'll quickly walk around to the right side of the machine, remove the cover again. Again, we're going to check, make sure hoses are secure, clamps are secure, that there's no loose fasteners, and we don't see any fluid laying in the bottom of the machine indicating a leak. Quickly check over the drive belts. And then we'll look at the two sight glasses on the blower and visually check them to make sure the fluid level is in the middle of the sight glass. Then we'll reinstall the cover. Moving back around to the front, we'll talk for a minute about machine operation. The control knob on the upper left-hand side is the choke for cold weather starting. Next to it is the ignition switch, which has 3 positions: off, run or idle, and start. And then we'll have the control for the engine speed, which is in the idle, mid, or high position. Below that is an hour meter to indicate how many hours are on the machine, the pressure gauge for the solution pressure, the vacuum gauge for the vacuum level in the tank, water temperature to indicate engine coolant temperature. Next to that is the temperature control knob for the solution temperature. Below that is the pump clutch, which has 3 positions as well. Lower position is off, middle position is the pump on circulating water but not heating it, and the upper position is the heat mode where the solution temperature would be heated. Next to that is the automatic pump out switch. This is for machines that have the automatic pump out feature included, which is an option. And next to that is a pump in system switch, which again is an additional option. If you go to an area where you don't have water available, you can carry water with you in one of our optional freshwater tanks. Below that is the incoming freshwater connection. If you're connecting to a water source on site, you'll plug the hose in here. If you have the pump-in system, then normally your pump-in system hose will remain connected to this port. Below that is the carpet cleaning mode selecting valve. In this machine, it has this optional circuit which provides a pressure washing mode, and this valve allows you to engage that pressure washing mode. The lower portion here is the high pressure solution outfitting for the pressure washing feature. Coming around to the other side of the machine, we have the 2 solution ports that go out to your cleaning tool. Below that, this area is the chemical metering system. This is the 3-way valve for the chemical system that allows you to have it in the either off position with no chemical flow, the prime position for initially purging the system of air and getting the solution flowing, and then the actual on position, which is the mode that you'll be in when you're actually cleaning and wanting to flow chemical. Next to that is the flow meter, which works in conjunction with this flow control valve, so you know what your chemical solution flow rate is set at. Moving above and to the left is the pressure regulating valve to set the pressure of the fluid that's going out of the machine to the cleaning tool. Below that is the blower loop port, which we'll use prior to shutdown to lubricate the internals of the blower and keep them from corroding. And then below that is the water drain valve, which allows you to drain the water out of the water box. So that covers that. So we'll begin by walking around to the other side of the machine. We'll connect our garden hose to the front using a quick connect. Again, if you have a freshwater tank in your installation, the freshwater tank hose from the pump would be connected here, and we would simply turn on the pump system. In this case, we're not using that system, so we're going to leave that switch in the off position. When you connect this, you should hear water flowing into the water box, which I'm not sure if you can hear in audio, but I can hear it now, and that indicates that the water is actually flowing in. If when you connect this hose you don't hear any water flowing into the water box, you want to go back to the spigot and make sure you turn the valve on and make sure the hose is connected all the way down. There's not some sort of obstruction. Next, we'll connect the solution out. In this case, today we're connected to a wand. So you can use either port. We'll connect to the top port. And then we'll go through the actual starting procedure. The first thing we're going to do is turn this switch to run. We're going to leave the throttle level at idle, and then it's spring-loaded to start. So we'll push that down. The next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and turn the pump clutch to the on position, and we're going to allow the machine to heat up for 3 to 5 minutes. Once the machine is heated up for 3 to 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and turn the pump on to the heat mode, and we'll set our various knobs and dials to allow the machine to heat up to operating temperature and the solution to heat so we could clean. There's a couple different modes I want to talk about before we start the machine. You'll notice down here below there's a selector valve that says warm or hot. This machine has the ability, when it's in the pump on no heat mode, to still provide a small amount of heat for cleaning upholstery. It cuts out part of the heat exchange circuits for the solution temperature. If you're in that mode, this knob does not regulate heat at all. You need to be in the heat mode, the pump on heat mode, and turn this knob then to the hot position on the selector valve. Then you have full control over the temperature of the machine's outlet solution by controlling it with this knob then and watching your temperature gauge here. So when we initially start the machine, we'll start this in warm. We'll make sure the pump clutch is off. So again, one more time, we're going to go to run position. We're going to start. We'll be in idle mode with the pump clutch off and the garden hose connected. Okay, so before we start the engine, one final check. We want to make sure that we uncap the vacuum ports completely so there's no blower load on the engine when we start. If you freeze guarded the machine the night before, we're going to want to make sure that we purge the chemical system of all the antifreeze before we draw cleaning solution into the chemical system. And if it's the first start of the day and it's during cold weather, or cold weather any time of day really in your area, you may end up needing to use some choke. Typically 1/4 to 1/2 inch works. In really cold weather you might have to pull it out all the way for a second or two and then decrease the choke as the engine comes up to speed. So for now we'll put on our safety equipment, which in this case is ear defenders or ear plugs, and we'll go ahead and start the machine up. Once we start the machine will need to warm for 3 to 5 minutes at idle, and then you're free to go ahead and turn the engine speed up and start prepping the chemical system and that which will go through and flow solution. One thing of special note, with a Titan 575, you don't ever want to clean either upholstery, carpet, or pressure wash with the engine in the idle position. You'll always want to be in mid or high. Typically mid position is used for upholstery cleaning, and high would be for carpet cleaning or pressure washing. So again, very important not to try to clean in idle mode. With that said, we'll go ahead and put our safety equipment on and we'll start the engine.